Now, do you make your homemade pasta? Because I love to make homemade pasta.
I can say no, I don't. I'm too lazy to do that.
See, I love to make it.
Do
It's
you?
so therapeutic.
Well, my grandmother used to make cavatells, you know.
Yeah, I make
and
that.
She and this is going back a long way. She used to. I used to watch her. You know, with
with
her
thumb.
little
You do
with
it
her
with the thumb.
thumb.
You do it, flip them right off the
And she used to
breadboard.
put a sheet on her bed and with a flour on it, and then put the cavatells on there to dry. I have never had the patience really to do that.
And so you don't make gnocchi,
So
because that's
I
the
don't.
one you make with a fork. You got to roll it with a fork.
And that's with potatoes.
Yeah, with a potato in
Right.
it. But it's homemade pasta. There's nothing like it.
I know,
mean,
it's wonderful.
And it cooks like in a minute and a half. Put it in the water, and boom, it's right.
So you'll have to do a cooking show for me. Teach me how to make homemade pasta.
I don't think I could teach you anything after reading her book. Her book is called Mama Jean's Kitchen. And one thing I love about the book, and you really can't see it from where I'm doing it, and I'll kind of flip it a little bit, but there are family pictures in there. And I'm going to ask you, how did you select these pictures? Because they're wonderful. They're pictures of family, and there's one that could have been my grandmother out in the backyard. You know, it's every Italian family, it seems, had that backyard where the ladder there and you know.
Well, it was very difficult picking out the pictures. This started out to be a family venture, just a family cookbook, and I had pictures all lined out on my table. And I wanted to put a picture on every page, but that was impossible. It would turn into a picture album.
Yeah.
So I got together with my family, and we all chose the ones that we love. But the one I love the most is the one I have with this cheesecake, the picture.
That's right on the cover.
And the cheesecake is on the cover, but in the recipe is a picture of my granddaughter sitting next to the cheesecake. And I think that's my favorite picture in the whole book.
Now, do you make cheesecakes often? Because we used to kind of make it like for Easter, and do you make pizza gain, and do you make all of those things?
I make my cheesecake at Christmas, and I've had that rule for a very long time. That's a Christmas treat. But somehow at work, every time they have a party, they ask me to make a cheesecake. So a lot of people have left over the last few months. And every time we have a going away party, they want my cheesecake. And I said, I've not made this many cheesecakes in forever. But so it's once a year or 10 times a year.
It all depends how that works. And you make that in a spring pan, I take it.
Springform pan.
Yeah, because that's really about the only way. And what do you use for a crust? Because my mother was very particular about a crust.
Well, I make my own crust with
that's what she did.
Yeah, with butter and sugar and flour and baking powder and egg.
You don't use a pie crust. It's got to be a special crust.
No, and it's just patted on the bottom of the pan.
Right, to give that really, and it has that, and you put almond in it too.
Yes, I put almond in it this time.
No Italian kitchen would be good unless you have lemons, almonds, right?
Yes.
And you have the lemon zest, and you got to have your zester for the good. Mm-hmm. And I use lemon a lot in many of the things that I cook because it kind of jumps at you. Now I have to ask you: have you ever made sfogliatelle?
Sfogliatelle, no. But
that's hard to make.
My sister-in-law used to make it, and
really?
I couldn't get the hang of it the way because it's very difficult.
Well, the nuns used to make it because they had either
time.
Patience. They prayed a lot while they did it. But if you've been over to Villa Italia or Villa Roma, they all make the Civitellas, I think, makes it. You have to roll it and roll it and roll it,
right.
And then
it's
you
layer,
have to kind of push it out because then it has to come like a clamshell.
That's right.
And I made them. I lived in Kansas, and in Kansas they didn't even know what an Italian pastry was. It's like, what is that? I mean, I had to go to Kansas City to get regat. But anyway, so there I am trying to make them. And believe me, I tried to make bagels. That was my other thing because you couldn't get bagels there either. And neither one was edible.
I don't have the recipe in my book, but there is a pepper, the pepper pretzels that the Italians make. And that's the same premise as a bagel. You boil them first, and then you bake them.
Yeah. I know.
And I've done that a couple of times.
And we love the pretzels. We really do. Oh, they're so good.
And pizza frite, that's another thing that my kids like, the fried dough.
Oh my gosh, we used to do that a lot. It used to be on Fridays I'd make bread, pizza, and the pizza frite. And then my kids would come home from school and they didn't know where to start.
Yes.
Because they wanted the bread with the butter and they wanted
Yes, and the pizza frite with the honey and confectioner sugar.
Yeah. It's really a great. And Italian cooking, now whereabouts is your family from? Because if you're in the north, you're going to use more corn and you're going to more rice. They don't use a lot of pasta in the north.
No, we're from the south.
Okay.
My mother was from Calabria.
Okay.
And
ours were Campania.
Yeah, Campania, okay. Right. And my husband's family was from Naples.
In the same area.
So it's all the same. Yeah, it's the same area.
And so that's why our cooking is so similar.
That's right.
When we went back to Italy and I ran into family, I mean, we didn't know if we could find them. We found them. They take you in like you're, like you've been with them for years.
Exactly.
And we ended up staying with them for a week. If you can believe that, they would not let us leave. It was like, please, we have a plane to catch. No, stay. But when we sat down at the table, the food was just phenomenal. What I have at home. Mm-hmm. It was the kind of food that. So my family actually brought that food and did not tamper with it at all. One of the things I found amazing is that they served olives as a vegetable.
Yes, that's right. There were always olives on the table. When we went to Italy, I went with my son a few years ago, and they rolled the red carpet out for us. They were so happy to see us, family everywhere. And they had a dinner for us, and someone baked this beautiful cake, huge chocolate rum cake. It was wonderful. And it was sitting in the middle of a table, and there were 40 people there. And each family wanted to have their picture taken with my son and I and the cake.
Nobody got to eat the cake. It was just
the cake was so wonderful.
It was part of the family.
It was part of the family.
Yeah.
That's
now,
right.
have you ever seen the movie The Big Night? You must
yes,
see that.
I think I did.
With Tony Shalhoub, where they make that.
Yeah.
The big thing with all pasta and meat and.
It's called. It starts with a T. I forgot
the name of it, but I love that film because there's so much.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and it talks about good cooking, not the cooking that you go into an Italian restaurant that's run by people who
don't know anything about it. Take
cooking.
The sauce out of a jar.
Yeah, and then throw it on and say, here you are, this is an authentic meal. We'll just put a little Parmesan on it, and then we're all set.
But people love it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good. I'm glad that we've gotten pizza. Wasn't even here until the 50s, right?
That's right.
From the World War II, the guys brought pizza here.
That's right.
But exactly. I knew pizza before that because my family made
That's
it.
right. Anyway. My family
Well,
too.
if you want to learn a little bit more about cooking, and Italian cooking in particular, where's your book available?
On my website, MommaJean'sKitchen.com.
Okay.
And the Book House at Stuyvesant Plaza has it. The Open Door Bookstore has it here in Schenectady.
It's worth a read because one of her recipes, I'm reading about fried spaghetti, which made me laugh. Mm-hmm. I'm reading the recipe and it's like oil and spaghetti, and then it's a dish towel. And I'm going, what the heck is this dish towel? And I'm thinking, she says, and then at the end it says, use the dish towel in front of the smoke detector.
Yeah, because the kitchen is all smoky when he fries it. When I fry it, it's okay.
Okay, good. Momma Jean's Kitchen. Do yourself a favor and enjoy some wonderful stories, and also the photographs are wonderful. And I've got to tell you, these are authentic cooked recipes. I can vouch for that. So, such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. It was very nice to be here. Thank you.
And if you were here, you'd be joining in this cheesecake, and I know that the crew is looking at that, so the cameras may not be working after this. But, and there's a few meatballs, so they're going to try